Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Today is Sunday, December 7th, 2025. And our conversation today is surrendering into newness. And this is really an interesting idea. And that is the surrender part we have to do when we think we don't like the changes that are going on. And newness often brings that about. It's like, wait, things are changing. I don't like this. Like the hippies we were just talking about in the 60s. They weren't very popular by the establishment of people. But nevertheless, we want to talk about what happens when we surrender to the possibility of good change, because we always fear bad change. Any change is first seen as bad. And so Um, and it's a real challenge to trust that change that seems bad could actually be very good. So that is our topic today. And Bob is going to start telling you about.
Well, you're going to read first of it for
I'm going to read
the
first
quote for the Buddhist.
the quote for the
The
Buddhist.
Buddhist quote.
I'm not sure what.
Siddhartha.
Oh, that's a very long one.
We'll just start with it. Just read some of it.
Well, I hope
It's really good.
I wasn't planning to do that, so I hope this is about Siddhartha. Uh, I'm not sure, Bob, I can find that.
Okay.
But I can tell you the story of
Okay.
Siddhartha.
What Siddhartha did was Siddhartha lived.
Gautama Siddhartha.
Right. He was very wealthy. He came from a very wealthy family, so he was privileged, like actually most of us are, even when we don't know that we're privileged. So he was privileged and living a life of privilege, and he left the house. And when he left the house for the very first time, or one of the very first times, he saw a dead person, or maybe even more than one dead person on the streets, because back in that period of time, poor people died and they were left on the streets, and later they were picked up. So
Could I say something?
yeah, go ahead. Just say one thing.
He was not only very wealthy, he was a prince.
Ah,
He was a prince, and his father was very protective and wanted him to see no evil
that's more than one
and see
thing.
no tragedy.
Right.
So he's very protected and not allowed to see any of the hardships
So see,
that
we're doing
people
this
have.
together. This works. Yeah. So having seen that, he was absolutely spellbound and horrified that he couldn't believe that this all happened and didn't know what to do with it. So he made a decision, and I don't know what all the thinking was that went into the decision, but he made the decision to leave home and to practice this asceticism.
That's
Correct?
right. He wanted to understand this. He was married, happily married. He was 28 years old or
Yeah.
so when he did this, and he had a beautiful young wife and a life of luxury. But he had been really troubled by seeing all the hardship that he didn't know was happening.
So having
So
decided,
tell him what asceticism
go
is.
ahead, you can tell them that you know that better than I do.
Well, it's a practice of self-denial, of denying yourself everything, food, drink. You just meditate.
So have any of you ever done that where you've decided I'm giving up all of these different things? And you've decided to give up those things because those things are in the way of your spiritual awakening. And have you noticed that the things that you've given up are not gone? They're simply there all the time. For me, it would be the equivalent of we're not having any more ice cream. And we've given up ice cream. And so does that mean ice cream is gone? No, that means that I go to the refrigerator several times and wonder if Judith has broken down and bought ice cream. It means I'm watching television thinking, God, I wish we had ice cream. So bottom line is you give it up, but you haven't actually given it up. You're simply not having it visible anymore. And he discovered that. He discovered that the giving up of things didn't make them go away. It didn't open him to what was really going on. It kept him in the back of his mind with a kind of ice cream headache. If only I could have it, but I don't want this anymore. So the battle very often that we struggle with in giving up things is that we take them with us in mind rather than giving them up truly. And that was the first discovery that he made. So he discovered that giving up things wasn't the answer. The answer was, what do you think the answer is?
The middle road.
Hmm.
But also, I said, before that with asceticism is self-denial with meditation. I don't know that it included meditation. It was just self-denial.
Yeah, well, I know.
Food, water, everything, you know,
Right.
you just
I know when it comes to ice cream,
suffering. It's about suffering.
self-denial is definitely suffering when it comes to ice cream.
But that's what, you know, through suffering, maybe
Right.
because he was Hindu. See, you
Yeah.
understand he was from India. He was Hindu. They knew about meditation, but they had some extreme practices.
Right.
So he decided that didn't work. And
Well, the interesting thing too to me about it, and we may find this in ourselves too, is the degree to which he gave up things was the degree to which he had more things than everyone else. You know, he was well endowed with everything that human beings could have at that time. So he didn't just give up some of that, he decided to give up all of that. And often when we move from one extreme to another extreme, we're still in the extremes. And that's really kind of a thing to pay attention to, is to what extent are you overreacting to compensate for the thing that you feel you shouldn't have done or shouldn't have. And so that middle road becomes more important because you're starting to say, well, maybe it's not bad, but maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's neither good nor bad. Do I need this? And so the judgment part of it is no longer so present as is the decision to see what it would be like if we didn't have all of this. So
yes, and he so I guess I want to bring up because this is really huge, I think, for a 28-year-old young man who had a beautiful wife and probably anybody else he wanted to have sex with, also gave up sex with his asceticism.
he could have done that.
At 28, you know, and so that really is going extremes. And so I don't know exactly this progression, but he ended up sitting under a tree, and I'm going to find this story because he just wanted to meditate. And he continued to meditate until he felt enlightened. But I'm going to find the story. Oh, here it is. Bouty Day. See, it's this December 8th, which is tomorrow, is Bouty Day. It is observed to mark the moment that took place 2,500 years ago when Siddhartha Gautama, oh, we were saying Gautama Siddhartha, but it's Siddhartha Gautama, achieved enlightenment and became the Buddha or the awakened one. The story goes that rejecting the luxurious lifestyle of the prince, Siddhartha left the comforts of the palace at the age of 29, not 28, I misspoke, and went on a journey of deep introspection to seek meaning in life. He meditated in Bodh Gaya, a town in northeastern India, under a peepal tree, now famously known as the Bodhi tree, and resolved to continue meditating until he achieved Bodhi, or enlightenment. After 49 days of continuous meditation, he attained Bodhi. So that's why tomorrow is called Bodhi Day.
Pretty darn important. Well, but what he did was he didn't just give up something, he practiced something. And what I've noticed is that when I give something up, if I don't have something to replace it in mind or in thought, then the thing that I've given up isn't really given up. And I think that's really, really important for us. Very often when we're holding on to an anger or a hurt or a judgment, when we say I'm not going to do this anymore, and every time we say I'm not going to do this anymore, we've just redone it. When we have something else we could do, so when we practice forgiveness or when we practice love and kindness in any kind of way, when we begin to replace the angry words with kind words, we begin to change how we are in relationship to the experience. And so part of what he was talking about, and I believe we need to be talking about, is how will we change our relationship with the things that we disapprove of or that we don't like, rather than how will we make our relationship objections louder or stronger or more powerful. That doesn't mean that what we don't like or that we don't approve of is something that we now approve of, but can we have it be a thing rather than something inside of us that eats us alive or that hurts us or harms us or makes us sick? Many people are dying from the pain and suffering that they haven't been willing to give up. And the pain and suffering is their opinion and their judgment about a condition that happened in many cases very, very long ago. And that condition continues to render their heart pain and their body organs pain until finally one of them breaks down. And the breaking down of the organs is really a breaking down of the parts of the body that are the most affected by the things we haven't let go of. And so he practiced meditation, which was a practice of replacing the thing that he wanted to be rid of with something that was actually better and more useful, and opened him up to an even greater awakening.
Right. He surrendered into
Surrendered.
newness. Surrendered into newness. He had everything most people could possibly want, and he couldn't be happy with the misery that he saw around him. And so he surrendered all of that wealth and happiness to find something new. And so that's what we need to do too. When we find new things that disturb us and we don't like the way this is going or the way that's going, or we fear this could happen or that could happen, sometimes we just have to surrender and look for the newness. What can be different? What can be better? Sometimes you have to change a system for it to get better, and the change can be uncomfortable. And I'm really thinking that a lot of what's going on in our world today that we don't like. We don't like seeing some of the changes we're seeing in our world. Particularly global warming and the way that is not being addressed and cared for by most of our countries now. Well, maybe something better will come out of it. If we can't fight it, can we surrender into newness and be open for better things to evolve and come about? I think it's healthier than doing, oh, ain't it awful? That doesn't help anything.
One of my clients, where I work in a crisis center, and one of the statements that she made to me was, "You don't understand. I've had to fight for everything I've ever gotten, and I have to fight all of the time. And life is a battle for me, and you've never had to deal with that like I have." And so one of the people on our program is helping her find housing. And that person who is employed to do just that has gone out and taken videos and done all kinds of things to help. Well, anyway, this person came back, showed my client the videos of the places, helped her make a decision about which one it was going to be. So when it was all done, I said, "So how much of a fight did you have to put up in order to get this to happen?" And she said, I didn't fight at all. And so what you could say is, "I fight for everything," or you could say, "I used to fight for everything, but I'm not having to fight like I did." But here's the bigger part. Every time you tell me that life is a battle, you're enrolling me to be part of your battle. And when you enroll me to be part of the battle, I'm going to say no. And that puts you alone. And when that puts you alone, it means you have to fight. And so what we often do is we make a battle out of a thing that doesn't have to be a battle, and then we wonder why we're alone, when we really describe the world in a way that would offend nearly everyone on our side or not on our side. And so giving that up, finding that middle ground, finding that space to say, I don't approve of this, I don't like this, and I also don't understand what else is possible. Let us see if there's a way we can move in that direction. Let's see what we could do with what we've got. We have a member of our center right now who's been dealing with a dog, her dog that's been sick for quite a long time and has a lot of different things that are wrong. And it's very clear this is a dog that's not going to be with us for the next 5 years. But what I was struck with is that she spends each day with the dog in the present, not in the future, and not even in the past. And so the love that she feels for her dog is a love that she can experience in the now, in the present moment, not in the tomorrow and not in the yesterday. How many of us are spending more time in yesterday and tomorrow than we are right here and now? Which is what Siddhartha was really doing, spending the time in the now, the now, the now, the now.
Indeed. I have a few quotes that I think, because who wants to surrender? It's not a thing that we long for and can't wait for. Surrender. It feels like giving up, or, just giving up and not something you want to do. So I have a quote from Richard Rohr.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, he often is a very good philosophic and religious writer. So he said, surrendering to the divine flow is not about giving in, capitulating and becoming a puppet, being naive or irresponsible, or stopping all planning and thinking. Surrender is about a peaceful inner opening that keeps the conduit of living water flowing to love. So in other words, you're surrendering to the involvement of good or God in your life, not just surrendering to the bad, what you call bad circumstances.
It's interesting. We've been watching Ken Burns' Revolutionary War series. And one of the things that Washington did, General Washington at the time did, was he surrendered to the conditions that he was in again and again and again. And what drove the British crazy was he never quit. He would surrender to the defeat, regroup, and come back and be there again and again and again. And so surrender is not a running away, it's running into the space that allows you to decide what is the next best thing I can do? Where can I go? It takes a great deal of courage often to surrender to a condition and to know that we're not the condition. We're something more than that.
It's an amazing series. I highly recommend it. I have so much more respect for Washington than I ever did. I had no idea. Oh, what a leader he was.
Yeah.
He was always the leader. And he was a very tall man. He looked great on a white horse. He was very inspiring. So I have another quote about this surrendering. This is by John O'Donohue, another writer. In the sheer vulnerability of nothingness, everything becomes possible in a new way. I'm going to repeat that. In the sheer vulnerability, because you do feel vulnerable, of nothingness, everything becomes possible in a new way. So that's what we're talking about, surrendering into newness. And Bob and I are experiencing that with this decision we've made to end our Sunday talks the first of the year, or end them the end of December, um, mostly because my eyes are making it very difficult for me to do the work well with posting and things like that. But also our age. It's time.
We're both 44.
But we love this. We love this work. We love ministry. We love sharing this wonderful teaching. And so it's really a surrender into the newness of it and what's next and um, what will what will take its place. And so it is a surrender, and you do have mixed feelings about it. But I'm an eternal optimist. I always believe that the best is yet to be and still happening. So it's something that we've chosen to do. I want to share another quote from Joseph Campbell. He said, "We must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us." Joseph Campbell. Yeah, sometimes our plans, fall away or go astray.
And it's interesting too to wonder as we get older how many things that failed or went away or that didn't succeed the way we thought they should succeed prepared us for the successes we've had since. And so I think if we could stop looking at a thing that's going on as right or wrong or good or bad, but simply the condition that we're in, and
Mhm.
ask ourselves what's next or how could this possibly be a teacher for me, we would probably enjoy even the suffering in a way that we don't enjoy it when we're busy lamenting that it's going on. For every surgical procedure, and I've been in healthcare most of my life, so I use that as a metaphor. For every surgical procedure, there's a recovery. And the recovery process often is even more painful than the process of the thing that was taken care of during the surgery. But what helps us and what helps you when you're recovering from, in my case, a replacement of a knee, is the hope, the knowledge that says this is going to get better. And so hope is a really important part of all of this, that we don't give up hope by talking ourselves into hopelessness, that we give ourselves permission to be hopeful when we don't have the answer. The movie that we saw that I love, Shakespeare in Love, if you haven't seen it, it's so worthwhile watching. The producer of the plays is continually bombarded with the government saying, you damn well better do this and you're going to do it by Friday or you're going to do it by Saturday. And he says, I will. And they say, how are you going to do it? And he says, it's a mystery. And of course, in the movie, the mystery always turns out to resolve itself. And I love that. And for those of you that are really struggling, as I know we all are, or I believe we all are, with some of the hard times that we're struggling with politically or socially or economically or wherever, it's going to work out. How's it going to work out? And if you don't follow that with something positive, what you'll do is, I don't really think so. I'm just lying to myself. You can always say to yourself, it's a mystery. And I and I invite the mystery.
Right. And the mystery we're talking about is the mystery of the uh, opportunity for goodness or godness, or
Yeah.
it's a way of opening up to the God within, and that's the same God in all of us.
Yeah.
It's the universal mind
You
that
know,
is in all of us.
even in sales, you'll hear that one of the strategies in sales is, if there were a way that you could afford this, would you be interested? Oh, yeah, I can't imagine. Let's look for a way, as opposed to no way, no way. Just like, I can't. Well, if there were a way, I think we could use that for ourselves. If there were a way, and I don't have to know what it is, and I'm not working alone. God is probably the best partner that anybody's ever had. And with God as my partner, all things are possible. Why don't I say that to myself rather than, oh no, that can't happen?
Exactly. And so I want to share an Ernest Holmes quote like this about the turning to God as our source. This is from the Science of Mind book that is our main textbook that Ernest Holmes wrote. And it says, there is a pattern of God behind our personality, seeking unique expression through it. And to this we should surrender everything we are. For this surrender will not lead us away from reality with a capital R. That always means the reality of God. It is not an escape, but a revelation and instrumentation of something greater than we appear to be. So we need to open up to that possibility of newness, greatness, and because it's not our power, it's God's power within us. And we actually direct that by our thinking and our expectation. So we have to watch. We have to watch and observe, because we will fall back into our humanness, which is about fear and doubt, and remember our goodness, our godness that is within us, and cannot be without us. It is within us. And so let's use it. Let's think affirmatively, positively, expecting good. I don't know how it can happen. That's also, I think, from that movie we saw. I don't know. It's a mystery.
I often wonder if a caterpillar sees a butterfly, if he can even begin to imagine that a butterfly is in his future, that he will someday be one. I would imagine the caterpillar, if he were to see a butterfly, would say that's a different kind of creature, because he doesn't see the relationship to him, to his own future. And so it's almost impossible to conceive of having, 50 or 60 legs and eating leaves, and to suddenly having wings and only 6 legs and flying. That's got to be a mystery for the caterpillar if we were to even reason that out. But I think we're wired to God. We have a God sense, and we need to trust that God sense and know that there's that part of us that God is in, and that is in God.
So what's so important about that is we create our experience through our thoughts and beliefs and expectations. So God can only create for you what God can create through you. This creative energy can only happen through you. So we have to guard our thoughts, watch our thoughts. When we start fearing and thinking negatively, we have to correct ourselves and bring us back to the power of good, which is the power of God within us, and know that we we are the creators of our experience. So learn to stay positive, learn to expect the good and go, I don't know how. And our teaching is you don't have to know the how. God
Right.
figures out the how. You have to just know the what and focus on the what that you want to experience.
I want to go back one more minute to the client that I was talking about, and when I finished sharing the idea that if she made life a battle, that everybody would have to be enrolled in her battle, she said, "This is life changing. This changes everything." And she was in tears because she said, I never thought that the way I saw things and the way I said things would have that kind of reverberation, that they have that kind of an impact on my life. And my life has been the battle that I've been making it, not the battle that it was designed to be. How many of us are enrolled in the battle that is not for us to have, and that we don't have to be a warrior, we can be a peacemaker?
Indeed. And so with that, we need to share a screen. It's time. So we want to, I hope I have this right.
You do,
Oh,
sure.
share. Yeah. Okay. Um, Let me just see if I can move
I
this
can
over.
move it again.
There we go. So you talk.
Okay, so as you all know, we're wrapping up this wonderful ministry at the end of the month, and in between now and then, we still have insurance and a number of other expenses that we have to manage. And if there's any way that you feel comfortable or that you want to support us, we're welcome. We welcome that. Ways to donate, you can
This
donate
is
to,
our website,
right?
cslpalmbeaches.org. And when you put that in your browser and the opens up, this is what the first page looks like. And you just go up to ways to donate, click on it, and that gives you a way to.
Now, you can donate one of two ways. You can donate for the center as we continue to, come to a close, or you can donate to our world cruise.
See, we're positive thinkers.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, there's not a world cruise right now, but I mean, who knows? Yeah. So what would
So we do believe that as we give, we do receive through the law of circulation. And, you know, the Bible and Jesus made this very clear. And so we like to say this affirmation whenever we give, and know that it is an investment for good and for our own good as well as the person we're giving to or persons.
I actually use this affirmation when we increase our tithes to PBS.
Oh, great,
Yeah,
good,
it's really
good,
important.
yeah.
And what we say is my investment today is
Is made
made with a
with
full
a full
realization
realization.
that God is
God
the
is the
source of my
source of my
supply and
supply,
returns it to me enriched and multiplied.
and
And
so it is.
just as in spirituality and PBS, I've experienced the outcome of that has been positive.
Yes, so then it feels good to give. Um, I'm sorry. Okay, end the share screen. Okay, very good, and end the recording.
We